Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make the ColourPop fringe earrings. This earring is a really quick earring to make up using brick stitch and a straight fringe with a picot edge. The top of the earring is made using a modified brick stitch, so we're adding 2 beads per stitch instead of 1, and that gives it its nice long elongated top. We're doing a ladder stitch along the middle with size 11 seed beads, and then we're doing a fun kind of chevron pattern in our fringe. All right, so today to make our ColourPop fringe earrings, we're going to be using 5 different colors of size 11 Japanese seed beads. And we picked out a bunch of our beautiful Duracoat colors in galvanized and silverline finishes. So we've got our Zest Duracoat galvanized, our Seafoam Duracoat galvanized, our deep gold Duracoat galvanized color here, and we've got a light cranberry silver lined, and this is also a Duracoat color from Miyuki, and our Prussian blue silver lined Duracoat. To make these earrings, we're going to be using our Nymo size B thread, and this is our sand ash color. And I've got a pair of our sterling silver French ear wires, and these have a little 3mm bead and a coil on the top. For our tools, we just need a pair of thread cutters, so I've got our Xuron thread cutters. And to open and close our ear wire at the end, I've got a pair of chain nose pliers here. And then I'm using a tulip beading needle, and this is a size 11 tulip beading needle, so that kind of matches up with the sizes of the seed beads that we're using. All right, let's get started. Okay, so to get started making our ColourPop fringe earrings, we're going to start right here in the middle of the earring. And normally with some of these Native American style earrings, you would start with a row of bugle beads, but I've just chosen to do a triple row of one of our seed beads, and I picked our deep gold here. So we're going to do 9 rows of a ladder stitch with our deep gold galvanized seed beads, and I'm working with about 4 feet of our Nymo thread here. So to start our ladder row, I'm going to go ahead and pick up 6 of our deep gold size 11 seed beads. We're going to thread those down towards the end, leaving just a little bit of a tail here, and we'll go right back through 3 of the beads. And that will allow these to lay nicely next to each other. And this first row, we're going to go ahead and reinforce it once or twice here to get them nice and tight. So I'm just going to go back down those 3 and come back up. The 3 again, you can see they're kind of starting to tighten up here. And I'm just going to head back down this set of 3 one last time. And that kind of reinforces our first couple rows and gets these to sit nice and straight next to each other. We're going to keep on going on our ladder row stitch, adding 3 beads at a time. And we're coming out of this guy here. We're going to go back down through it to get these new 3 beads to sit right next to those guys. We're not going to be reinforcing, but we're going to be weaving back through so we can go and set up our next set. So now I've got 3 rows. We're going to do this until we have a total of 9 rows for our ladder stitch. And I'm weaving my ladder stitch pretty tight since this is kind of the foundation of the whole earring. But for the rest of the earring, you're going to want to weave pretty loosely. Watch out for that tail thread that wants to get back in there. So you can see they're all just kind of lining up next to each other. I've got 5. I'm going to keep going until I have 9 across. Now, if this earring is too wide or too narrow for you, you can increase this initial ladder area, but I would suggest that you increase in odd numbers so that you always can have a center part of your fringe. So you can have one longer fringe than the others, unless you don't want to have, you know, like a graduated fringe, and then you could just go on. So now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, one last row. Okay. So there's my initial ladder row stitch that'll create the center of our earring. Now we're going to start brick stitching, and we're going to do brick stitch decreased all the way up. And I've done this as kind of a modified brick stitch. So we're going to be adding 2 beads per row. And we're going to start off with this Prussian blue row here, adding 2 beads across. And since it decreases, there's going to be 8 sets of 2 beads across. To get started on your brick stitch so that you don't see any thread, you're going to pick up your first 2 rows to start. So we're going to pick up 2 sets of 2 beads, so 4 beads total. And with brick stitch, you're not going through your beads, but you're using your thread as your anchoring point. So we're going to skip over that first anchoring point of thread in between the first and the second bead, and we're going to go through the second and the third set of thread, and you're going to just weave right under that row of thread. You can see where my needle is poised here. And watch out for knots. Okay, so you can see I've got my beads there, and then we'll head up back through just those 2 beads of that. Now this is where you want to make sure that you're beading pretty loosely, because you want your brick stitch to sit nice next to each other. The first row here isn't anchored down, so I'm going to go back down through that set and anchor it to that first piece of thread that we saw hanging out there, and that will make it nestle nice and close to the first set. Okay, so you see that kind of pulled it in there. Now to get over to where we can add our third set, I'm going to have to go back through this second set of beads again. You're always going under that piece of thread that's there, and then coming back up through the beads. Okay, so I've got my first and second sets of beads, and I'm going to just go ahead. Now you can just do normal brick stitch along the rest. So I'm picking up 2 beads at a time, and this is our Prussian blue silver lined. I'm going underneath the thread in between the third and the fourth sets here. Just going to skip over to the next one and then back up through the beads. And we'll do that all the way down this row, adding a total of 2 beads for each of these 8 rows. And I always have to remind myself to bead pretty loosely when I'm doing brick stitch. I tend to want to tighten everything up, but you want it to kind of flow and be nice and loose so that they sit nicely next to each other. And this is our last set for this row. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next row. Again, it's going to be brick stitch. We're going to do a double row all the way across of yellow, of this kind of Zest galvanized Duracoat color. So again, we're going to pick up our first 2 rows, so 2 sets of 2 beads. We'll skip over our first and go under the thread between the second and third beads here. Go back up, and then we'll come back through and anchor this first set down. I've got some loose thread here. Get those so that they're hugging each other nice and tight there. And we'll get our thread back over so we can keep on working across on this row. Okay, so now for each row along this side, we're going to pick up 2 of our Zest beads and brick stitch that across. Again, just remember not to pull too tight. Keep your work pretty loose. You should be able to kind of roll the beads between your fingers, and they should move a little bit. Like if you go like this, they'll kind of move along. There we go. We've got a row of 7 across in our Zest complete. And now we're going to start a little bit of a pattern here. So we've got pink or light cranberry along the outside, and then we've got seafoam, and we've got a little triangle of gold in the middle. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and for our next round of brick stitch, we're going to pick up 2 cranberry and 2 seafoam. And that's going to be the first sets of beads for our next row. And again, we're going to put on our second row and then go back and tack down our first row. Get us over into the position where we can add our third set of beads, which are going to be gold. And then we'll go ahead and add another set of gold beads. We're going to go ahead and pick up 2 of our seafoam color. Watch out for knots. There we go. And 2 of our light cranberry. Okay. Now we're going to keep on working on our pattern for our 4th row. So again, we're going to pick up 2 of the cranberry and 2 of our seafoam. We'll skip the first set and tack down our seafoam, go back through and tack down our light cranberry. And we're just going to add 1 set of our gold for this row. That'll kind of be that center point of the little triangle pattern. Then we'll do a set of seafoam. And a final set of cranberry. Okay, and we're almost done. We're going to go and add for our next row, again, 2 cranberry and 2 seafoam. Skipping over that first set. Add 2 more seafoam and then 2 more cranberry, and that will complete our row there. For our next row, we're going to pick up 2 cranberry and 2 seafoam. This is our last row featuring the seafoam, so that'll give us our nice point to our triangle pattern here. Okay, and our last row of our brick stitch is just going to be picking up 4, so 2 sets of our light cranberry, 4 beads total, and tack down the first set. Tack down the second set. And we're done with our brick stitch portion of the earring. Now we're just going to add 6 of our deep gold galvanized seed beads up here at the top to create a loop for our ear wire to sit in. Got one in there that's like a funky shape, so I'm going to go ahead and get that one out of there. Okay. And for this, we're just going to come out of 1 set of the cranberry, go through the set next to it. That's going to just create our little loop, and we'll just go ahead and reinforce this a couple times just by going right back through all of those beads using those last 2 cranberry in our brick stitch portion to be the reinforce to finish up the loop there. Okay. That should be good. We've got about 3 reinforcements there, and then we'll attach our ear wire into that at the end. So now to keep going and to start your fringe, we're going to weave down the side of the earring and come out down here where our tail thread is coming through. So I'm just going to weave down the earring in sets by the row. Watch out for knots. Okay. So now we're coming back out of that base ladder stitch that we created to begin with, and we're going to go ahead and start our fringe. Okay, so let's start working on our fringe. Our fringe is going to be graduated, so each sector or each piece of fringe is going to be a little bit of a different pattern. We're basically going to be adding 1 extra of our Prussian blue and 1 extra of our seafoam to each row. Everything else is going to stay the same. And we've got this cute little picot end here that I'll show you how to do. That's a really easy, fun finishing touch on your fringe. So for our first row, we're going to pick up 2 of our Prussian blue, 1 of our gold. I'm going to shorten the names here so I can call them all out. We'll add 3 of the Zest, 2 of the gold, 5 of the light cranberry, 2 gold, and 7 of our seafoam, 3 of our gold will be the finishing touch. So string all those so that they're coming up to your ladder stitch. On the fringe, you really want to make sure that you're being nice and loosey-goosey so that your fringe will lay nice and straight. We're going to skip stringing back through those last 3. That's going to create our picot. And then we're just going to string right back up through all of the beads again. And then all the way back through the 3 gold beads in your ladder row. And I like to just gently pull your thread up and then kind of play around with your fringe a little bit to make sure that there's movement and that it's hanging straight there. Keep it nice and loose, but you don't want to see any of your thread showing in there. And then you're just going to string back down through the next 3 gold beads in your ladder row. And we'll string up our next fringe. So we're going to pick up 3 of our blue, 1 gold, 3 yellow, Zest color, 2 gold, 5 cranberry, 2 gold, 8 of our blues, or of our seafoam here. There we go. And again, 3 of your golds for the picot end. String all of those up. And then you're going to weave right back up through. If you've got a nice long needle, you can do this all in one go, but you might need to break up that. You just want to make sure that they're nice and soft and moving around and that you don't have any thread showing. Again, we'll go right back through the 3 ladder next to it to kind of come down and add our 3rd fringe. We're going to add 4 of the blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 2 gold, 5 cranberry, 2 gold, and 9 of your seafoam, and 3 gold for your picot. And you're going to skip those last 3 golds that we put on, string all the way up through. Make sure they're all laying nice. They're not too stiff. There we go. Come back down through your next ladder to add our 4th fringe. We're going to pick up 5 of your Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest. Oh, I had 1 zest over here. I'm going to grab that one. 2 golds, 5 of your light cranberry, 2 golds, 10 of your sea foams, 'and string all the way up. So you can see I'm barely making it all the way through with 1 needle pass. Still almost make it all the way through. Again, just make sure you're not seeing any of your loose thread. You want them straight, but not too straight, that they don't flow. Oh. And head back down through your next ladder. Now we're at our center point. So we're going to add 6 of your Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 'straighten this out here, 2 gold, 5 of your light cranberry, 2 gold, and 11 of your sea foam. And finish that off with 3 of your gold for your picot. String those all the way up to your ladder and string back through all the beads except for your first, or the 3 picot at the end. Okay, then we're going to head back down our ladder to put our last 4 fringes on. So we're just going to decrease now by 1 for each of the rest of these on our Prussian blues and our sea foams, and that will give us a nice point part to our fringe. So we'll go ahead and do 5 of our Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 2 golds, 5 cranberries, 2 gold, and 10 of our sea foam color here, and finish it off with 3 of our gold. You can always kind of test before you weave back through to make sure everything's looking correct too. As you are going through your fringe, make sure you didn't mistakenly pick up too many or too few beads as you were picking them all up. Head back up through your 3 in your ladder. And again, just make sure that all of your fringe is hanging nicely, and that's going to be nice and straight on your finished earring. We'll weave back down so we can do our next one. So for this guy, we're going to pick up 4 of our Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 2 gold, 5 cranberry, 2 gold, and 9 of our sea foam. And finish it off with 3 of our gold. String those up and weave back through, all except for those last 3 gold that you put on. Weave back down through your next ladder, and we'll pick up 3 Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 2 gold, 5 of your cranberry, 2 gold, 8 of your sea foam, and 3 gold to finish off for your picot. Back through, down to finish our last fringe. So for this guy, we're picking up 2 of our Prussian blues, 1 gold, 3 zest, 2 gold, 5 cranberry, 2 gold, and 7 sea foam. Finish that off with 3 more gold for your picot. And your fringe is done. So I'm going to go ahead and weave in my ends here to finish off the earring, and then I'll be back to show you how to attach your ear wire. Okay, so now we just need to attach our ear wire to finish up our color pop fringe earrings. So we're going to open up our ear wire and we're going to grab it with our chain nose pliers. Grabbing onto the loop, we're going to push the ear wire part of the loop down and pull open with our chain nose, kind of opening it up to the side. And then we're going to connect it into the loop that we created on our brick stitch earring. And close it back up by grabbing onto it again and pushing them back together, closed. And you've attached your ear wire. And now you want to repeat all of these steps to complete your second earring, and you'll have a pair of color pop fringe earrings too. You can find all of these supplies and more at fusionbeads.com.